Hey, what's going on? I've got a 2002 Chevy Silverado, and I'm going to use this truck to point out to you the location of the 3 vital fuses for your brake lights. And I'm also going to show you how to change the brake light switch. So to start with, we'll inspect the fuses. They're going to be in the electrical center on the driver's side under the hood. And you remove the cover by pulling up on the back like so. Now the first fuse I'll identify is called the stoplight fuse, and it's this 20 amp fuse right here. You can just grab it, pull it straight up, and you can actually visually look through the fuse and see if it's intact or not. This one is intact, and you can also use a voltmeter to confirm. If that fuse is blown, then your brake lights will definitely not work. You can find a spare 20 amp fuse located right here. Now the purpose of this fuse is to send constant power to your brake light switch or your stoplight switch. When you actually hit the brakes and that stoplight switch detects that you're hitting the brakes, it takes the power from this 20 amp fuse and it sends it to both of these 10 amp fuses. The 10 amp fuse on the right hand side is called the vehicle stop fuse. That fuse powers both the left and the right brake light. This 10 amp fuse on the left hand side, this is for the center high mount brake light, or the third brake light. So check both of those fuses, and if you find that any of them are blown, you can find a spare 10 amp fuse right there. Now let's go look at the brake light switch inside. It's going to be receiving constant power from your 20 amp fuse, and that power comes in on an orange wire. So let's look at the wiring, let's look at the switch. So coming down here, looking upwards from the brake pedal, you'll see where the brake pedal lever goes into the push rod for the booster. That's where you'll find the brake light switch. And that constant power is coming in on this orange wire here. And when you actually hit the brakes, it registers that, and the brake light switch will send power from the orange wire back to those 2 other 10 amp fuses via this white wire. So the orange wire receives the constant power and the white wire sends power out when you're actually hitting the brakes. Now, as far as removing this, you'll see there's a clip right here. That's all that retains the assembly of the lever, the switch, as well as the push rod. So what you're going to want to do is pop that clip off. You can use maybe a small Phillips screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. The center part of the clip you have to pry up and away from the rod. Let me see if I can do that here for you. So here's a good way to get the switch. There we go. So the clip, once you pry the center piece of the clip up, the whole piece will come off. Here it is. And with the clip removed and set aside, you can actually move the push rod off of the lever and the switch will come off with it. So here's the switch. And you can disconnect it by pushing in on this black part of the tab and removing it. Now, reinstalling the new part, you'll notice that on one side it's slotted. This allows for you to get the rod installed just partly. So you can get the rod situated like that. From that point, you can slide the switch onto the entire assembly and push it over. And you should push it in enough to where you can see there's a little relief cut here. And that is for the clip to go back on. So yeah, that's about it. I hope this info was helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any questions, or more importantly, if you have any advice regarding the brake lights or the stop lights on your Chevy Silverado.